Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 5 of my top 10 Scrolls decks. Today we are covering Mono Energy Control, one of the two decks I would feel most comfortable taking into a competitive environment, whether it's a tournament or a ranked ladder. It's definitely served me well in the past. Unfortunately the meta at the moment is heavily weighted towards Tempo Order and late game growth, which are two of the three worst matchups for this deck. So I've had to tweak it a little for the current environment, but it still can hold its own weight and perform really well. So yeah, let's get to it. So first off, we're going to look at the structures we run. We run 11, which I think is the perfect amount to run for the other scroll on the deck, which is Machine Chant, which relies on structures. We run 3 Automator Forges and 2 Excogitators. See if I can pronounce that right. These just provide excellent value engines throughout the game. We don't have any scrolls which necessarily draw us cards, so we need to find other ways of getting advantage, and this offers it. Just incredible value, pumping resources into this, keep getting lots of creatures, and our opponent can't deal with them, then we outvalue them in the long game. I feel Excogitators should probably have armor 1, because it's a bit of a weak side compared to other things, but yeah, 4 countdown's a lot. Pump 12 resources into it, it's a lot. But it counts down every turn anyway, so it's not bad, but it's we need to run structures. This is why we've got it in. Then we've got Charge Coil, 3 of them. Probably my favourite scroll in this deck now. Top Reaver Thea was my favourite scroll, but it's had to be replaced by Charge Coil now because Top Reaver Thea isn't in the deck anymore. But yeah, constant pressure on our opponents. If they're unable to deal with it, we just keep doing constant damage, and against Decay it's an auto win, so that's great. State Machine, another way of pinging our opponent's creatures down. This happens when they come into play rather than as they're in play. Again, excellent against Decay, good against Growth. Just brings them down, 4 health creatures down to 3, really helps with burn, and just anything we could do to get them to 2 health so our Sudden Eruptions and Thunder Surges can deal with them. Just makes life a lot easier. So State Machines are great. Speaking of Machine Chant, this is it. It costs 5, is a disruption spell, and it deals magic damage to target unit equal to the number of structures we control. So the more structures we have, the more damage it does. So if we can have 3 or 4 out, that would be the perfect number to deal with our opponent's stuff, and it also ramps us up by increasing our energy by 1. This is how we gain the advantage on our opponents. We might not draw scrolls, but we get to steadily increase our resources a lot higher than our opponent and play our much bigger and more powerful spells. We've also got Echomaton here, which is another scroll which helps ramp us up. So 1, 2, 3, so pretty weak, but against late game decks, Decay, well, maybe not Decay because they've got enchantments, but especially late game Order, Growth to some extent, Energy definitely, then we just keep ramping up. Lots of fighter jets have just gone past my window. You might think I'm making that up, but I'm not. So yeah, Echomaton, excellent value throughout the game. Has its weak matchups, but when it's really good, it's exceptionally good. We've got Power Trip, cost 3, increases our current energy by 6, it draws us a scroll when we've got 11 or more. Late game, takes us from 8 to 11, so we can play Solemn Giant and deal late damage, which is amazing. Yeah, just allows us to outvalue our opponents. Nothing bad. I mean, every energy deck should probably run this. It's just insane value. Then 2 Stone Enigmas. This is a late addition to the deck. Normally this would be something like a Metal Wonder, but people are trying to counter me. They know I like to play this deck, so they like to play Tempo Order, and they run a stupid lingering spell, which I can't remember what it's called. What's it called? Grounds of the Fallen, this is it. Gives something Magic Resistance 1, which just stuffs us. We can't win if they play this. It's not fair at all. This is just such an insane value card. Gives all their stuff +1 attack as well. Why? That's so strong. So yeah, we need to remove this, otherwise we're dead. So we play Stone Enigma. And if our opponent plays Decay and plays Halls of Lasser, then it's a great trade-up because we get to counter their 6 cost scroll with our 4 cost one, and also we get to ramp up. So pretty good value. I've played it 17 times. Played it once out of 17 games. Okay, whatever. It helps, I promise. Next we've got Removal Package. We've got a lot here. We've got 3 Potency Burst, 3 Spark, that just deals with things, as well as 3 Burn, draws us a scroll. That's probably going to have to get nerfed in the new set of scrolls we're going to be doing. But yeah, between all these, I guess Violent Dispersal as well. Targeted Removal helps destroy things. Tig Bomb, another late addition. Again, there's some structures which we want to remove in order, which look like... I'm so bad at remembering things at the moment. Where is it? There you go. Effigy of a Queen. If they play this, we can't win, so we need to remove it. It's good against energy because there are quite a few structures, like we're playing. Decay, there are pretty much no target, so it's useless. But against growth, everyone suddenly seems to be playing... where is it? This. Verdant Remnant, if you're playing growth, so we get some value at least. They get haste, which is annoying, but I don't think this is necessarily great, but it offers us some way of just dealing with a 5-cost structure, which has its uses. Then we've got Sudden Eruption and Thunder Surge. Mass removal, we need it, and Sudden Eruption and Thunder Surge help us deal with lots of little pesky rats and lots of pesky soldiers. Last but not least, we've got some more creatures. We've got 3 Gravelock Guard, 3 Blast Automaton, and 3 Sun Giant. Gravelock Guard, Pillage Effect helps us ping 1 damage on our opponent's stuff, brings them down steadily. Again, we need to keep assisting all our stuff which keeps pinning, so between this, Charge Gun and State Machine, our opponent's creatures should be able to be dealt with in 1 spell. Whereas if they're like coming to 4 or 5 health, we might need 2 sometimes, which isn't what we want. This is why we're playing this as sort of Hired Smuggler, because we need to keep dealing damage, and this just keeps offering some value. Also, the 3 health is really great against decay and energy because we can't play Spark or Soul Steel on it. So it all adds up. Blast Automaton, this usually would be Ironclad Reaver, but again, growth and order quite aggressive at the moment, so we need the armor to protect our stuff. 2 to 4, not great. It's not. It's really good against the decks it's good against. It's really bad against the ones it's not. To put it that way, so it's a bit one way or the other, but it plays a role in this deck, especially since we've got Scout Automatons, so we can buff it up as well. From Mars, Excogitator, however you pronounce it. And then you got Solemn Giant as well, 8/6/4. Again, gets buffed by our Scout Automaton, so it can be up to 10 attack and Sniper and Idol, which is great value. This is basically how we win the game, and it's got the best attack animation out of the entire game, so you can't say no to that. So yeah, that is the deck, Mono Energy Control. We'll take it into a game now. I have played a game against a human person. There's no one wants to play a game at the moment, but I did play against someone with this deck, so we're going to go on a replay and watch that game. Okay, so we're playing against Spezatruba. I don't know how to pronounce it. So yeah, this might go a bit quick because it's obviously a replay, so I might not be able to commentate as I normally would. But I'll try and pause every now and again to explain my thinking if necessary. We are facing Decay, which is a heavily favoured matchup for us. I guess it depends what sort of Decay play you're playing against. If you're playing a strong Watchageddon version, and they know to target the opponent's idols, well, your idols rather, instead of trying to deal with your structures, they stand a good chance of winning, but no one ever does. So, yeah, we're usually heavily favoured. So one weakness of Gravelock Guard is that it can get languided against Decay. So unfortunately we've lost it there, but it can still protect stuff. We get the Forge down, we've gone first. Our opponent's going to struggle to deal with a value engine. Looks like they've gone quite slow. We've got to pack us Lifestealers turn 5. It'll be quite slow against. Lifestealers are actually very good against energy, because they are a big creature with 4 attack. So they can deal with stuff like State Machine, Automator Forge. But in this sort of the hand they've got here is just quite slow. So we're coming up to turn 5 here. We get our Excogitator. That's how you pronounce it. We get that down, means our Machine Champ next turn can do 2 damage, which is all we need. 2 damage is more than enough to get excellent value, because obviously we ramp up, which is everything we could want. Lifestealer comes down, makes a good target for the Excogitator, because then we can burn it if we draw burn. I'm guessing that's what I play it on. Yeah, especially since if I draw the burn, that always helps. What does he play here? Should go with another Lifestealer. It does, yeah. This is really weird to commentate on. So I keep the Stone Enigma here. I don't know if he, at this point, if he's playing Halls of Omenvassal or not, but keeping Stone Enigma is great value. I should have sacked the Gravelock Guard there for resources and pumped one of my forges, Automated Vortex Excogitator. But I didn't, so I sat for scrolls, which is a mistake there. I should have gone for resources. Here comes for Horseworm Lasser. I got quite fortunate here. He does run it, so this is almost game changing. I mean, obviously in a good position, but it's just such a big advantage for me to take out that with Stone Enigma and get the Charge Coil down. We might not be able to deal with a lifestealer this turn. We could have done with Violent Dispersal, but stopping him from getting the card advantage, gaining resources, it's just such a big play for me. He gets to be Oblivion Seeker. Don't know what's going on with the hand viewer there, but can't be helped. He decides not to take out Gravelock Guard. That's a mistake. Maybe. You do want to go for the Idols, but I think he's sort of behind on that plan now. Looking at how his deck's built, I don't think he's running Watchageddon. If you're running Watchageddon, you can sort of afford to go more direct. It's got Lord Darkton, so it's not bad, and Reaping Mask, so I don't hate it, but Watch is such a powerful scroll. Gets Lord Darkling down. So the next threat for us to deal with is Harvester. So obviously we've got lots of removal, so it's basically how do we decide to do it. We go Sudden Eruption, which then allows our Gun Automaton to take it out. And we've spawned a Scout Automaton as well, which has been poisoned by that Brain Lice, but increases the attack of our Gun Automatons. By round 10, he's pretty much lost already. We've got Board Dominance. Anything he plays, we can just use our Charge Coils and Gun Automatons to keep picking off. Anything that's big, we can use our spells to bring him down. And then every 2 or 3 turns, we're going to get every 3 turns we're going to get a Gun Automaton. Every 4 turns we're going to get a Scout Automaton. And that's if we don't put any resources into it, but we can do. Basically, any spare resources you have after essentially dealing with your opponent's board, you pump into your structures and you just gain such a big advantage. So eventually you've got a full board, you don't need to play as many spells, and you win. He gets the Languid Unbind. And to deal with it, Decay is pretty much the only way of dealing directly with structures, enchanting them and using Unbind. Personally, I think Unbind shouldn't be able to do that, but we shall see. I know the argument can be made that it's structures are so annoying for Decay to deal with. Like, yeah, that's its issue. Find another way of dealing with it. But we've got more value there from the Gun Automaton, and a full hand. We've got 7 cards in hand. He's only got 4. We've got, what, 7 units on board. He's got none. And we've got more resources. Another Languid, so we can deal with a Forge of a Charge Call if he enchants it. Fortunately for him, we can only play 2 Harvesters, which are going to be too slow. So now we've got to think of a plan. How do we deal with the Harvesters? We get a Power Chip, which is great. Into a Solemn Giant. So we can use our value here, get the Solemn Giant, take out a Harvester, leaves us with 3 resources, pump the Forge again. Get lucky with a Charge Call there. I should put the Solemn Giant 1 space further forward, but didn't think it through. Damage Curse is great. Brings his Harvester down to 2 health. And again, the plan is now, how do we deal with that Harvester? We've got so many ways, we get another Power Trip. Tick Bomb not needed in this matchup. But we're going to keep the Stone Enigma just in case he plays another Horseworm Lasser. And we've almost dealt with that Packhusk down to 1 health. Reaping Mask I think is a good scroll. I don't think it's good against a deck like this because basically your creatures are never going to get to attack. You might be able to keep them for 1 turn on the board, but they're never lasting for 2 turns. So something like Necrogeddon is a lot better finisher against this matchup anyway. It's a much better way of dealing with opponent stuff and getting through. If you want to deal direct damage, go with Watcher. It's good though in control decay decks, where you don't have a huge number of creatures, just to keep the draw going and offer some unstable damage. I run it in a couple of decay decks, but I usually favour Watchergeddon, where I run primarily creatures rather than removal. So we dealt with a board here. Gun Automaton takes out Tribesman down to 1 health, then our charge scores just pick everything. And yeah, anything in place here takes 2 damage from the state machines. So you can't even play the Rippers because they'll just die. So he surrenders, which is fair enough. So yeah, that is the deck. It comes in at around well, exactly 189,047 gold, which is quite expensive. But yeah, it's quite it's cheaper than some decks. It was a lot cheaper than it was when I initially priced it a few weeks ago. It was like 500,000, so it's come down a lot. If you're still on the budget, then there are ways you can bring its cost down. If you remove the Excogitators, Sudden Eruptions, and Echimatons, add in Top River Fears, Blind Rage, and Fulmination Conduits, you can reduce its cost by about 100,000. Against aggro decks, you do want to make a few changes. Get rid of Solemn Giants, Echimatons, Tick Bombs, and then add in Potion of Resistance, obviously great against aggressive decks. Skull Shrines, so you can gain resource advantage early. Thunder Surge then redesigned to take out Wings Warder, because that's a pain. And if they play that, you don't win. Then against Control, we're taking out Thunder Surge for not playing so many small creatures. Taking out Excogitator, because they'll just be able to deal with that. Taking out Gravelock Guard and Blast Automaton, because they're a bit too small. Adding in Metal Wonder, because all their spells suddenly may take damage. Top River Fear, because it's my favourite scroll. And it's a big creature to help pack a punch. Hired Smuggler, because we can now draw some scrolls. And Ironclad Reaver, another big threat to play on the board, which our opponents won't be able to deal with as well, anyway. Much better, easier. It's much harder for them to deal with than Blast Automaton. So yeah, that's the deck, Mono Energy Control. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.